where brevity is paramount.
Hello and welcome to episode 11 of Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite Gaming Playlist. My name's John Denton and with me as always is Chet Roivas.
What's happening?
So if you've not heard the podcast before, it's really simple. We both have a top 10 list of the games we've been playing the most this week. We rattle through them one at a time, back and forth, bit of banter. Number one's the game we've been playing the most. Number 10's the game we've been playing the least. And because we're both fortunate enough to work in the games industry, we get stuff before it comes out and we get to talk about all the new releases, but not necessarily. It could be anything. Enough with the wittering. Let's go with Chet's number 10.
Right, my number 10. I have a feeling this is going to be your number 10 as well, because it can't be any higher or lower than 10. Rambo, Last Blood.
Rambo, Last Blood is my number 10.
Yeah, I thought so. Just go and play it.
Yes.
I think we should be conscious of spoilers, because the whole thing is basically a series of spoilers, and to be told them is to not experience it for yourself. You'll be missing out. So, yeah.
All I'll say is two things. First of all, if you want to find it, just Google Rambo Last Blood. It's the word Javid is in the URL. I can't
it's
quite
it's www.javidpower.com/Last Blood. Javid is basically David, but with a J. Javidpower.com/Last Blood.
You can do it in 5 minutes, so don't worry about setting aside a lot of time, and make sure you try again. That's all I'll say.
Oh, God, shit, I didn't try it again.
No, you did, but I can imagine some people quit after 2 seconds.
Oh, okay, right, I get you, yeah. If you know who Rambo is, especially if you're a child of the 80s, because they assume that you are, whoever made the game, because there's some just really off the wall. I mean, there's just those pictures that you see of just the most random 80s things. They really crack me up.
We shouldn't even spoil anymore. Just go and play it. Everybody needs to go and play it. It's 5 minutes. You won't regret.
Yes, and you'll love it if you love Rambo, especially.
Yeah. Man, I'd love to talk about all the things that happen, but I don't want to ruin it for everyone.
The gameplay is really good. Although the gameplay is such a small part of actually what happens, it's really it's the simplest. The gameplay is the simplest thing in the world, but the game's equivalent of shooting. I'll just say that much. It's really satisfying. Really satisfying. Just go and play it. It'll take you 5 minutes. Do it.
So that was my number 10 as well. So you might as well do your number 9.
Oh fuck. Okay. Right. My number 9 is Fez.
Fez.
Have you gone back to it?
I've not this week. I haven't had time.
Neither have I. I turned
or
it on.
inclination, maybe.
Well, yeah. When you said last week that people were advising others to go and basically cheat, I went back and I did that, and it gave me no pleasure whatsoever.
Did it not?
I got a couple of puzzles and I found out how they were. I realised how the puzzles actually functioned, and I realised that there's a lot of codex on the wall to try and give the answer. I didn't even realise that was the case. But still, they were way too obtuse for me, and there's no fun. I went and I did 2 puzzles. First of all, it was hard to try and find the solutions because I don't know what the puzzles are called, and some of them are just like, what is this room? What is going on here? And if you try and find a full guide, anyway, the process of being told puzzles and then solving them is just about as fun as a kick in the nuts. So I did it. I did a couple of puzzles, and then I think I'm going to put it to bed.
Yeah, I don't know what to do about Fez because I was struggling with the not obtuse stuff because of the stuff that I talked about last week with my sense of direction. So I know what's coming now. I've not spoiled it too much for myself, but you can't help but hear things about, sort of not self-referential puzzling, but stuff that kind of fourth wall breaking puzzling, isn't there?
Yeah.
Later on. That doesn't sound massively appealing in that context, but I am intrigued by it at the same time. So
I'll still say if it's worth paying 800 points just for the first 3 hours, because it's a really, really, really good, if not, not amazing, but it's a very, very good platformer. I'm very interested to see how many people bought the game because of they thought they knew what it was, and then it turned out not to be what they thought. I'm really interested because people just seem to be unanimously loving it, and I haven't heard a lot of people saying that they don't love it. Really,
I've heard a few other games journalists, just quite a lot of people just saying it's not for me. I kind of respect what it is and what it does and what it tries to do, but it's not for me. I worried within half an hour that I was going to be in that camp. I'm not going to write it off yet. I will try and find time to go back. I'll try and set aside a little bit of time to really try and go back and give it my best shot, but I'm not confident then I'm going to get through it.
Yeah, I think I'm done. I respect it and I advise people to buy it, but yeah, I have to say the same thing. It's not for me.
So, Fez. My number 9 isn't Fez, it's Lumines, which sort of rhymes with Fez in my land of rhyming. Lumines. Do you remember a few weeks ago I said that I couldn't play Lumines because it hurt my hands and it hurt my arms and I was out of commission for a week? So I had a train journey back from London this week and I thought, well, this will be a good way to kill the train journey. And again, after 20 minutes, my hands started to jam up and got fizzy up and down my left arm. Oh. And I was like, there's no point. I can't do it to myself. I don't want to put myself out of commission again, so I don't know what to do.
Is it just Lumines that does that?
I think it's the fact that I'm playing it with the D-pad instead of the analog, whereas on other games you play with the analog, and it's just something to do with my hand position, the way my thumb is on my left hand.
Why don't you use the
repetitive motion? I can't play it with the stick.
Can you not?
Accurately. No, not. I just end up missing everything and annoying myself, and then not wanting to play it anyway. So yeah, that's my dilemma.
That's a real shame.
Yeah. The dream's over.
Yeah, and it is a nice dream. Just don't sell it, though. Keep hold of it for us. Nah.
Brothers in Lumines, mate.
Yeah, that's it, mate. So that's a real shame. I love that game more than life itself. Well, not that much, but yeah.
I don't know if you love it that much, do you?
No, I don't, but damn, what a good game. It's a shame you can't, because that's a great game to lose a couple of hours in.
It really is. It would have been an ideal train killer, because I got from like London to the next stop, which is like Woking or something, without even noticing it would happen. So I could have quite easily got all the way home had I not jammed up my arms like an old man.
Shit.
But maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just an old man now.
Maybe that's it, but it still doesn't quite explain why. I mean, yeah, the D-pad versus the thumbstick, but still, that's quite weird. What a shame. Okay, my number 8 is Hero Academy.
Okay.
I think I'm done, and I'm going to be as polite and sort of level-headed as I can about this, because it's fucked me off so much that I wanted to just spit bile down the microphone and scream about how much I hate the dipshits that have created it. I won't say that though, because they're not dipshits. They're very clever individuals. I just can't appreciate this game. As I've said before, the 5 moves at a time thing feels like such a ridiculous stricture, and it even feels like a gimmick. I'm like, why did they do it? It's to make itself, to make them stand apart. I understand it's an iPhone game, so most games have to be. You can't have goes that last forever, but it wouldn't last that long anyway. It's quite a small game, and the 5 moves, I can't get my head around it.
Apparently, it's a basic. Apparently, it's just a complete lift of a board game called Dominion. I've heard.
And
so
you only
I don't
get
know
5
if those.
moves?
I don't know. I mean, I shouldn't throw that sort of information out there because that's based on one guy I heard saying it once. I have no idea what Dominion is. I have no idea what the rules of it are. I probably shouldn't have even said it because it might not even be true. But it's also a fact that it's a lift of Dominion.
Okay,
so
well, I mean, I had no idea, but the five moves thing just bothers me. It bothers me. I feel like I can't strategize properly, and it's started to feel like it's a gimmick, a way for them to stand out when they didn't need it, because the actual fundamentals of the game are really, really solid. But the other day, whilst playing a friend and getting absolutely fucked by he's paid for one of the DLC bundles, and I've had this back and forth. I wonder if they're overpowered, and do you know what? They really fucking are overpowered, and that's a really snidey way of trying to get money out of people. More snidey than cheat your way to a higher ranking and all that stuff. It's really, really bent. And
I don't know. I've beaten the dwarves with the first guys though, more than once.
I'm sure it's possible, but I picked if they are on a level pegging. Why did the 6 games that I started over the last week and then subsequently didn't play all pad DLC and all used the DLC characters? And our friend Zeno, I was playing him. He took out 3 of my people in one move with this stupid super slap thing, which there was no other. He didn't, stick a spell on any of the person. It's just it felt so ridiculously overbalanced, and I've now decided that's the case, and it's fucking pissed me off. So I'm done.
It's over. It's over. I stopped playing it a while ago, but I like what I played the month or so I spent with it.
I've wanted to love it every time I've played it, and I just don't. It's just it bit by bit, it's pissed me off more and more. And the realisation that the DLC characters are way overpowered, and I honestly, from everything I've seen, I can't conclude anything other than that. I'm fucked off. Seems like a really, really snidey way, as I said, to get money out of it.
It is the classic snide. I'm still not sure about it, but
I've seen enough to commit to me, so fuck it. I'm done. I'm not going to delete it from my phone, but
you do always think people are cheating whenever you lose at anything.
No, but not in. What are you talking about?
Every time we've ever played Halo or any game.
Oh yeah, but that's when we get stuck in those rooms where there's loads of cheaters. No, but this is different. This is observing what's happening. Like I said, when Xeno fucking cunted me with one move, 3 or 4 of my guys, no reason for it to be that overpowered, super slap or some. I can't remember what the fuck it was called. All those people in one move.
You might be right. You might be right.
I'm convinced I am, but yeah, fuck it. I don't find the game interesting enough to continue, even if that wasn't the case. So piss on it. Sorry.
No worries. At least you played it. Yeah, I'm just happy that you actually took a recommendation. Amazing. Is that my number 8? Are we on my number 8?
Yes.
Right, my number 8 is The Witcher 2, which is probably going to be low down in my list every single week for the rest of the time, so I've got no time in my life. I'm just like crawling through this game very, very slowly. It's so hard. I refuse to put it down onto the easier setting. I'm sticking on normal. I beat the big Kayran creature.
Oh shit! Did you cast that spell beforehand?
Yes.
Okay, because I didn't do that.
Yeah, and it was just a bloody nightmare, really.
Yeah.
I did it eventually, and then it was quite satisfying when I did it. The Witcher 2 is a strange game. I do really, really like it, and then...
What, you've gone off it?
No, I haven't gone off it. I've just had a couple of bad runs with it where I've not given myself enough time to really prepare, and I've rushed it, and it's the type of game where if you rush and don't prepare, you get screwed. You get smashed up every single time. You need to take your time to oil up your swords and meditate and take the right potions and buff
that's
yourself,
why it's
basically.
so good. You've got to prepare.
No, this isn't the game's fault. This is my fault. So I've just had a couple of bad runs with the game, and I need to set aside some proper time, whenever the hell that will be. God knows. I don't even know why I say stuff like that. But one day maybe, where I can really, really get into it over the space of a good few hours and get into the flow of it again. Like I did when I first started, I had that time for the first 5 or 6 hours, and I haven't found that again.
Have you got out of Flotsam?
No, because, like I say, it's just I spent 2 hours the other week just dying and got nowhere, and not too dissimilar thing happened this time. So, I just need to be a better Witcher.
Yeah, I mean, don't be shy about putting it down to easy. I tried it on easy for a bit. It's not a walkover. It's not.
No, I'm sure it's not. But I like the fact it's as hard as it is as well. That's the strange thing. Even it's never fucking me off. It's just, I'm always like, I've got to pay more attention. I've got to set traps. I've got to throw bombs. But I'm rushing it.
Okay. Well, that's it. Does I mean it gets better as it goes on, and Flotsam, although it also gets easier because as you start to sort of level up, so to speak, it does get progressively easier. But yeah, also I haven't played it this week, but it's still on my shelf, and I'm going to rinse it shortly.
Yeah, there's no doubt that I'm going to go through it, but it also makes me think that I should go back to Skyrim first because I've got to get that done. These games are too big. They're not designed for 30-year-old men with stuff to do. Yeah,
but I'd put this over. I'd put this over Skyrim. I think it's a better game.
They're very different. Skyrim's a game about discovery, which is a game about pursuing a narrative. But yeah.
All right. My number 7 is Need for Speed Hot Pursuit.
Oh really? Gone back to it? I've been meaning to go back to it for ages.
That'll always be on my shelf. Burnout. I think Burnout Paradise is Criterion's masterpiece, but it took me a little while to get that game, and for a long time before I really understood what it was, I was just like, give me Burnout. I want structure. I want do this level, get this medal, and then that's what Need for Speed Hot Pursuit is. I think it's incredible. I still think it's incredible. Just a fantastic game. So much content. And the only issue with it is that me and a friend went online. Well, actually, we've been online with it probably 10 times in the last few months, and you can't get a game.
Can you not? It's just dying out, is it?
But I don't understand why. I bet you people are still playing Paradise, and I bet people are still playing the fucking Run. But no one, I mean, literally can't even find one other person to play with. And it's just like, how can such a great game that's not even that old, but just be dead online like that? It's such a fucking good game online. It's as good.
It is.
It's as good online and off as Burnout Takedown and Burnout Revenge. It's just a fantastic game. I know Need for Speed lovers didn't really like it because it wasn't a Need for Speed game. It's a fucking Burnout game. But
yeah,
man, I just love it. I'd played some of the single player levels anyway. It's just really cinematic. I like the music, and that they have a real way of making it seem cinematic that most sort of developers would give their right arms for. It's really fucking great.
Unbelievably exciting at times.
Yeah, really. I mean, like when the choppers are flying over and all that chaos is going on. Oh, so good. Such
yes,
a good
right.
game.
Yeah, no, I really, really need to go back to it because I've still probably only done about 2/3 of the single player stuff.
If that, no, I mean, I thought I'd done about that much, and I really haven't. There's so much content on there.
Yeah.
So many things I
kept getting caught up in like
Times.
autolog. Yeah. All that sort of good stuff.
Yeah.
And then the situation where 10 other things come out, and you go, I will go back to that, and then months go on. That sort of DVO.
Yeah, that's going to be on my shelf permanently. So I'm going to get it down now and again, as I have done for the last few months. And yeah, I
might try and find time to have a go on that actually.
Oh, you should.
This week. You might.
Hell of a game.
Oh, it's me, isn't it? Number 7? It is number 7. Saving Private Sheep 2 on the iPhone. But you didn't think I was going to say that?
No, and I bet if that's not a free game, that whoever made that game's already bust.
No, it's not a free game. It's by Bulky Pix. It's pretty good. It's very good, actually.
When you say it's a 69p, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is, at first, right, you start and you're a sheep, like you're an army sheep or something, and you're firing a catapult, firing a hedgehog, and I was like, oh no, not again, please, not again, because again, I was doing this for review. And you just think, oh, they've just literally made Angry Birds with a sheep. But it actually is a lot cleverer than that. Every single level is about getting your hedgehog to kill a fox, right? And every single level has a bunch of sheep on it dotted around this kind of maze. And you can fire your hedgehog, and it can bounce off walls, and you have to fire it between your sheep using an Angry Birds type mechanic. So after a couple of levels of getting your head around it, there's a lot of stuff like bouncing your little hedgehog off 3 walls at the right angle so it lands in the next sheep's hands. It's like, whereas Angry Birds is trial and error, just kind of blind firing, aiming, hoping you kill everything, this is more considered and deliberate and predictable. So you actually just have to kind of use spatial awareness to work out exactly how you're going to get your hedgehog to the next sheep. Sounds stupid. I was pleasantly surprised. I think it's better than Angry Birds. I think it's a better game. It's what I want Angry Birds to be, because I like... When Angry Birds goes right, I like it, but when it goes wrong, I just think it's just a waste of time. Whereas this only goes wrong because of your own stupidity, as opposed to just physics not working out for you.
Very interesting points there. Very interesting points. I'll come back to those.
All right.
Genuine.
Intriguing.
Sorry, carry on.
Intrigued. That's pretty much it. It is. I mean, it's tough. It's a tough sell. Do you need it? I don't know, but it's worth playing if Angry Birds is a game that you want it to be something that it's not. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah. With minor modifications, almost everything you've said over the last 60 seconds, I'm going to end up repeating in a little while. But yeah, I'll get to that. You've
been playing Saving Private Sheep too as well?
I haven't, no, but in relation to something else.
Okay.
Okay, right, my number 6 is Battlefield 3, but not Battlefield 3, regular Battlefield 3, Close Quarters. I played it first. I mean, the previews all came out today. Did you read any of them?
No, not. I've been too busy today.
Okay, I mean, you know what Close Quarters is. What were your thoughts on it? Was there anything that it sort of reminded you of?
I haven't seen it. I was in the room where it was being played, but I was busy doing something else. But it's just right. It's like more stuff like Operation Metro, right?
Yeah. Okay. But I mean, first of all, right. I played it for the best part of an hour. I interviewed the design lead on it and spoke about the new gameplay mode and played the new gameplay mode, and it was presented to us and explained to us. And it wasn't until 2 days later when I was lying in bed and I was just like, fuck. The new gameplay mode is just domination mode from Call of Duty. I felt like the world's shittest detective because I've been told all the details so many times and I fucking played it. And do you know what the mode's called? Conquest Domination. I am the biggest dumb shit in the world, but anyway, it's... Sorry?
You might be.
Yeah, that's... I mean, yeah, and if you read my preview, which I wrote today, I put, in case you haven't realised, there's a slight resemblance to Call of Duty, so yeah, I'm a 24 Garrett twat. Yeah, anyway, Close Quarters, it's fucking great. It is very much like Domination from COD, but the dynamics of... Sort of the core dynamics of Battlefield mean that it works fantastically well, and as Battlefield, it's hard to know what to say about it. The maps are, I did one map, Donya, I should remember the fucking name of it. It's like a massive mansion.
Sorry, how many maps are there in total?
There's going to be 4, but we played on one, which was Donya something.
You're not going to remember it.
No, of course not. But yeah, it's really fast paced. I mean, all the changes to make it like all the changes that have been made to make it more like COD. Capturing it's basically conquest, but in these tight spaces. Capturing a flag takes about 3 or 4 seconds, so you're constantly moving around. You can't spawn on your teammates or at the objective. You just random spawn points only.
Oh, right.
And yeah, initially I was like, everyone's going to be engineers. It's going to be fucking rockets flying everywhere, but it's not, because you have to move around so much and you can't really camp. It's hard not to say about it. It was just it's really, really, really good fun, and the map design is genius. There are so many sort of different routes and sort of corridors and stuff sort of winding around, leading into each other and around. Really, really, really excellent fun. I was expecting it to be good because Battlefield is my boy, but I was pretty much blown away. I can't wait to spend more time with it. Although,
when's it out?
It's June. It's like a week early on PS3, but it's in June.
Okay, so a little while still.
Yeah, a little while. It was pre-alpha code, so there was issues.
Right.
Because it was really, really early build, but it still worked great, and the destructibility is awesome. The level was completely destructible, and when you're in a gunfight and there's fucking debris flying everywhere, it's proper buzzing. And and if you go through a room after there's been a massive fight in there's just this sort of haze of dust, and it's a really nice touch. It's going to be great. What can you say?
They know what they're doing, those guys.
DICE. I mean, of course, that's what I mean. They're the most dependable unit, one of the most dependable teams out there.
Definitely, and a lovely office too.
Oh, you've been to their office?
Yeah, I went to go and see them for Medal of Honor. So they were doing a multiplayer for that, weren't they?
Oh, that's not fair.
Amazing view of Sweden. Anyway, right, my number 6 is Kid Icarus. I've nearly finished it. Very nearly finished it. I think I'm on the very last boss, and I actually left my Nintendo 3DS on sleep, and I bet it's run out of power now. I forgot about that. It's not a very long game, but I think the idea is, in fact, I know the idea is that you're supposed to replay a lot of the levels. Have you seen the stuff where you can? It's hard to explain. You can change how difficult the game is going to be, and you bet hearts. Hearts are like the currency of the game. You can bet hearts on how well you're going to do. Does that make sense? So
yes.
So say, right, it goes from 1 to 9 with like incremental decimal points in between. So you say, right, I'm going to try this level on 8.1. It's going to be fucking hard, and it makes you bet a certain amount of hearts to do that. But the rewards you get in game, if you do manage it, you get like really awesome loot, loads and loads of hearts back if you do manage to finish the level.
Okay.
And then with the loot, obviously you're crafting new weapons, and there's this whole meta game to it. So whether or not I'm going to get stuck into that and it's going to draw me in, I'm not sure, because I've played through the game and really, really enjoyed it, but I think it turns into a different game when you start playing it on the very high difficulty levels, I think. So yeah, I'm really intrigued by how that's going to work out and whether or not that's going to captivate me. The game itself I thought was excellent. I loved it. Really funny and just classic Nintendo, really. So I shall finish it this week, I'm sure, and report back on whether or not I get stuck into the rest of it.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's sitting here. I haven't had the time to touch it yet, but yeah, I'm going to sesh it up big time over the next week.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll like it, unless the controls don't work with you, which has been the case with some people, I know. But go in expecting clunky, funny controls.
Okay.
And it's something you have to kind of learn and teach your brain.
Job done. Okay, my number 5 is SAS Zombie Assault 3.
What the hell is that?
Have you not aware of it at all?
No.
To be honest, it's gone. Well, it's still on I found it on the App Store. It's on the iPhone. I went to either highest grossing or highest rated or highest something or other, and it was in the upper echelons. I think it was highest grossing. And it's a free download, and obviously there's built-in, spend money for this, that, and the other, essentially to level up. I don't want to be too harsh on it, but it doesn't work. It's zombies mode from Call of Duty, top down. But the thumbstick doesn't work. It's like there's a thumbstick and there's a shoot button, and the thumbstick moves you around and points you in the direction. but getting it to move into a direction so you're facing in that direction is a fucking nightmare. So you just end up sort of moving around, sort of strafing around in a circle whilst not aiming in a different direction. Pop, pop, pop. Apart from that, it's a really nice little game, you know. But it's exactly the same. You know, you've got to build up the barriers. There are collectibles unlocked after you sort of beat a wave, and it's completely online. At first, I thought it was a sham. There's like you can play single player, you can play co-op, local, or you can play multiplayer. First couple of times, I clicked on multiplayer, and it took me like within 2 seconds. Dave, XXX, 7J, Steve, blah, blah, you know, a room full of people, and I was like, that can't possibly have just happened that fast. And I was watching my AI teammates, and I was like, this is a sham, isn't it? They've got some, you know, they just dream up some names to convince you you're playing online. But after doing it a few more times, I'm certain that's not the case. But it was it can matchmake very, very quickly. Yeah, it's hard to say. It's zombies, you can't really aim properly, it's shit. A lot of people seem to be playing it, and the money they make from it is by people who want to level up to unlock the other weapons and stuff.
Right, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Shortcut stuff.
Yes, but yeah, it's a shame because it's
What's it called again? SAS Zombie
SAS
Man.
Zombie Assault 3.
Right,
it's got
blimey. It's a mouthful.
Yeah, really, but it's got awesome reviews. And it's zombies from COD. But how do you can't move around and then aim with the same stick? It doesn't work.
No.
Infuriating, but yeah, it's fine, I suppose. But yeah, fuck it, ignore it.
I probably will.
Genuine.
Now here's an iPhone game you shouldn't ignore. It's called Spelltower. Have you heard people talking about it this week?
No, I haven't.
Apart from me?
No.
Right, have you heard of this guy, Zach Gage?
No.
Right, he is a concept artist that's just got into games development. I think either New Yorker or the New York Times did a piece on him, quite an in-depth interview with him. Really interesting guy, and he hated puzzle games and word games as they were, so he decided to create his own. And he's created a masterpiece, basically. He's created a fantastic word puzzle game that is somewhere between Tetris, Lumines, and it's like a classic word search. So it looks like a word search. You get a grid, and you can make words, minimum 3 letters, by dragging your finger or thumb in any direction from the first letter. So down, diagonal, across, and you know.
So it sounds like Scramble with Friends.
Which one? Scramble with Friends?
Yeah,
No.
It's like words. It's like the Boggle. You build the thing, but then you drag your finger over it in the direction of the words.
Yes, but when you get the word in this, it pops out like in Tetris or like in Lumines, I should say.
Oh, wow. Right, okay.
And then more letters fill it up. And if you can get a 5-letter word, it'll pop the squares around them. And there's different modes. There's one where you just have a grid and you try and eat the grid away. There's one where every time you do a word, you'll get a row come up at the bottom and you're trying to stop it from getting to the top, Tetris style.
Yeah.
So you're searching for really long letters, and there's like blue squares that if you manage to get a letter with the blue square, it'll be like a Q or something like that. It'll clear the whole line out. It's really, really good. 69p. Everybody's going nuts for it. It's a classic.
That does sound, that already just from the description sounds. I think I'm going to get that as soon as we finish.
It's really, really good, really good. My other half absolutely loves it. I love it. It's has brilliant like sound effects as well. Just as you're playing, it's like bronk, bronk, bronk.
Hold on,
bronk.
it's a completely single player, right? There's not competitive.
No, there is some leaderboards and multiplayer stuff. To be honest, I've not even really examined that kind of side of it because it starts out you have one mode and you have to get a certain amount of points to unlock the next mode. So I was just doing that. None of which is particularly hard, but just so you can get your head around the game. It's just so well designed. It's just a masterclass in design. Spelltower. Everybody needs to play Spelltower.
Spelltower. Done. Yeah, I'm going to sort that out.
Yeah, you'll love it, mate.
Okay, my number 4, FIFA 12. Not the World Cup add-on. It didn't arrive when I expected it to. I'm going to be playing that next week, so I'll talk about it next week. It's World Cup, Euro, Carling, Premiership, whatever. They're all the same thing. Vanilla, I still love it. There's not a lot to say. I've got not much to say about it. I still think it's a fantastic game. I played 2 games online. I'm incredibly rusty because I've been playing FIFA Street more than FIFA, so I was trying to do a lot of stuff in FIFA Street style. But I won my first game and it was just an absolute screamer. And then the next game I got absolutely creamed by some bastard who did me like about 6-0. It's still great. And then I had a couple of games locally with a mate. It's I still think it's the best FIFA.
I don't. Well, I do, but I don't. it's difficult. I think it's better than FIFA 11, but I think there are things about it that make it worse than how I felt about FIFA 11 when FIFA 11 came out. There we go. That's the best way I can describe it. My number 4 is Euro 2012, so I might as well just continue the conversation.
Yeah.
I was asked to review it, and there's all this stuff about the licenses that's come out now. Now, when I played it, I picked major teams and didn't come across the unlicensed teams literally in any of the matches when I played through the tournament, when I played through the new expedition mode, which is like some weird combination of FIFA and Risk, where you pick a country, you get a bunch of shit players, and then you play neighbouring countries and you basically defeat them and take their territory, and you can take one of the players from their team and then you eventually build like a super team, take over Europe. Apparently it's some of the more obscure teams like Slovakia and stuff. I would have never have known when I played them if they were the real player names or not. I'm just, I do love football, but there's only so much your knowledge can go. But apparently one of the major ones is Wales, and I just didn't come across Wales. So there's that side of it. But what I did like about it is I thought for the price, which I think is £15, which is reasonably steep for a piece of DLC, but considering the tie-in games used to be full price, you're getting all the lovely EA Euro presentation to get you pumped for the tournament, new stadiums, new visuals, new commentary, all that sort of stuff. And it's just like that they do the kind of festival of football thing really well. And you can get bogged down in the licensing issue, and it is a bit of a jip probably, but I mean, I don't know. I think I still kind of stand by the fact that it's a really good piece of DLC.
Yeah, but I mean, when all that arose earlier in the week, I was like, you'd never know how much is truth and how much is fiction. But when EA said the amount of money it would have cost us to license all of those teams would have resulted in a full price game, I think some people would have preferred to pay for a full price game. I wouldn't, because I like the football games. When I play them, if they've got a World Cup, Euro, whatever tournament sort of side to them, because it's always countries playing countries. I don't use club football teams very much. I tend to use countries, and I always like those better. But I mean, the fact that there's teams missing, that's going to mean fuck all to me. So I think I'm going to love them.
I mean, they're still there. They're just the players have got different names. But I mean, a guy like you wouldn't know anyway.
Damn straight. I don't even know who's on the England team. So fuck it.
Yeah, but the England team is all there.
Oh, good for them.
But I still think it's quite good, mate. Like, I understand the hate completely, and to be honest, I wish I'd picked it up and mentioned it in my review, because I feel like a bit of a sucker, but it's just one of those things. It's not mentioned in any of the build notes that we get when reviewing stuff. So if
it didn't get out in the press, I reckon most people wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah, I think how many people? Well, it's the Wales issue, I think, that
Oh, okay, yeah.
Really, so obviously a lot of Welsh people have picked their team and they haven't got the right names, and yeah. I mean, when you're not told it, and FIFA's always had all the licenses, you don't think suddenly, I better check they've got the licenses of obscure European teams who are not in the major tournaments. But a bit of a bungle on my part, a bit of a mistake there. But I still stand by the fact that I think it's worth the cash if you want a festival of football to get you pumped for the Euros, which plenty of people do.
Genuine. Is Ian Rush is in there, right?
Yeah, Ian Rush, all the big names, Stanley Matthews, Alan Partridge, all the big names.
Me boy. Okay, right, my number 4 is Battlefield 3, Vanilla Edition.
You can't have it twice.
Why not? It's 2 completely different games. I won't talk long about it. As soon as I came back from playing Close Quarters, luckily everyone was on the same wavelength as me, and I texted everyone and we went on for a massive sesh. Incidentally, on the subject of Close Quarters, I'd love to know whose idea it was. I mean, it does sound like as brilliant as it is. Do you reckon EA pushed for that?
I don't know. I really don't know. I can't see them being pushed around.
Yeah, but I mean, would DICE necessarily? I mean, the thing I will say is that when you go and search for servers on Battlefield 3, so many of them are like Sane Crossing only, Operation Metro only. I mean, there is vehicles in Sane Crossing, but only one. So people seem to love those, myself included, those inventory-based maps. So
yeah, well, I know Metro's the most popular map on all systems, isn't it?
Is that doesn't surprise me at all.
That came out today in the Eurogamer interview, I believe.
Oh wow, okay.
So I think maybe it was just based around that, or maybe they already had a plan, or maybe it was EA. But
yeah, who knows? But anyway, Close Quarters is brilliant. But yeah, we had a massive sesh. Almost didn't play because the matchmaking system. Now, when I suspected last week that EA have canned all their servers, I'm pretty sure they have. I searched extensively for official EA servers, and like I said last week, I found a couple of DICE ones and nothing. But anyway, when you if you select Quick Match Rush, it'll throw you into a random Rush game, and it could be a roster that has
Ian Rush, me
boy. It has nothing but Conquest and one Rush map. So we were endlessly jumping out of lobbies, jumping back into lobbies, and I can't stress this enough. If you play Battlefield, get used to that favourite button as soon as you've played a decent round, because it will favourite the server and you can jump straight back in it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting to feel like coming back home now. After that weird sketchiness with the patch where you still find your feet, I'm loving it. Tanks are still too easy to destroy and hard to heal, but man, we had a blast the other night.
I'm coming back to it, mate. There's 3 things I'm going to do in my life, right? What was it? Oh yeah, Need for Speed was number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2, I'm coming back to Battlefield because I've been inspired by all the coverage today. It's probably just like classic subliminal advertising, but fuck it, I don't care. And third one is I'm going to set the Wii back up and play some Wii games.
Okay, I don't believe
in real life, none of these will happen.
Yeah,
but
especially not number 3.
Yeah, of course not. But at least I'm definitely thinking about doing it.
Yeah.
Thinking about it.
It's a thought.
Am I number 3, or do you just want to talk about Battlefield for the rest of the podcast?
Well, I mean, I'd like this to be the Chet and John's reassuringly Battlefield podcast. No, I've got nothing more to say. It's great. It's still great. Nothing to say. Make favourites if you're on your server lobbies, because otherwise you're going to get fucked about and get pissed off and turn it off.
Number 3, Bloodforge. Bloodforge is a new Xbox Live downloadable game from Climax, the people who did Silent Hill, Shattered Memories, and a shitload of games over the years. When I first booted it up, I was so amazed. I was like, how can this be an arcade game? It looks amazing at first. It's basically like chunky Conan God of War type deal, but it looks like a retail game. Kind of looks a bit like I Am Alive, that kind of visual effect, the muted colours.
Yeah.
At first it was really good. You had like a big guy and a bunch of stuff happens, his wife gets killed, usual typical story, but it was like handled quite well, and I was writing stuff down like economy of words and things, stuff where I was like, this is going to be good. And then after an hour I was like, fucking hell, this might be the worst game I've ever played in my life.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. That's just, I do say that every time I'm playing a game that I don't like even a bit, so I have to kind of check myself a little bit there. But it goes from like bit of fighting, bit of cutscene, bit of talking, like nice flow to the action, new weapon, new type of magic thing to find out, like really well paced, and then it just goes, right, now you're just going to fight enemy forever, and the camera's a fucking joke, the boss fights are a joke. I want to like it, but I hate it.
I mean, how much have you played? It might change after that, right?
I've been reading reviews, and it only gets worse, apparently. I'm certainly agreeing with that. I've played maybe 3 hours. It's just a fucking trudge, a miserable trudge. Even the most basic enemies takes ages to kill. There's no AI. The combat's just button mashing. There's some combos in there, but you can't see what you're doing because the camera's so bad. And yeah, it's just horrible. All they needed to do to make it a real fun riot is cut the number of enemies you're fighting down by half. It has some really stupid design choices as well, like your health bar. I was on this boss just before I did the podcast, a really fucking hard, stupid shit boss, like a game from the PlayStation 1 era, and every time you respawn, you have like a quarter of your health bar, and there's no other saves or anything. You can't go back to a previous save or anything. You'd have to restart the entire level or just battle through, and I managed to find an exploit where I could run around the edge of the arena and shoot with my crossbow, and it took me about 20 minutes. Do you remember when you had to do stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, that sounds like one of those old games where you have no choice but to find a way around the game. Exactly. You have to outsmart it, yeah. Shit, that sounds fucking toilet.
Yeah, but it didn't need to be that way. If they'd just given me full energy and made it a bit easier, you could just rattle through the game in 3 or 4 hours, have a riot doing it, the guy's shouting the whole time, my wife. And it would have been fun, but they decided to make it really, really hard and miserable. Yeah,
but I mean, I always try to be mindful of the fact that they might have been under the most ridiculous pressure to finish.
They might have been, but someone needed to come in there, an editor needed to come in there, a consultant needed to come in there and just help them out. Just go, no, this needs tuning, because at the moment it's like a book written by a fucking head case. That's the worst analogy.
But that makes it sound good as well. So swerve
Yeah,
there.
it does. Yeah. Can you imagine if someone just wrote a book with every single thought they'd ever had, and nobody came in and edited it to tighten it up? That's kind of what it's like.
That sounds. Yeah, I understand what you mean. That sounds shit.
But if that book was Conan, because they've just ripped off Conan.
Okay, yeah, I'll swerve that shit.
Yeah, do.
Okay, my number 2, my fucking glorious number 2 is Pandora's Tower on the Nintendo Wii.
So you were talking about this in the week when we saw each other in the real life.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
It's fantastic. I mean, it's always lumped together with The Last Story and Xenoblade Chronicles. It's not really like them. It's not.
So give me the quick, high concept pitch. What is it?
Okay. Well, I mean, people have described it as Metroidvania. Oh, that phrase pisses me off. Metroidvania. It's a little bit like Metroid and it's a little bit like Castlevania. Is that what you're saying? Yes, we'll just say that then. Don't fucking make up a stupid word Metroidvania that everyone's picked up. It's just one of those things. It's like even Steven. Fuck you. Just say it's even. Don't say, even rhymes with Steven. I'll put them two together. Go fuck yourself. Sorry. Pandora's Tower, right? Basically, the story. One of the best things about it is the story. But essentially, it's a little bit of Zelda, a little bit of Metroid, a little bit of Castlevania, and a little bit of Resident Evil. And
Zelda Metroidvania evil.
Yeah, I'm gonna coin that phrase right now.
Stephen.
Honestly, don't. That phrase makes me. It upsets me to my core, and it's like someone's pressing a switch to try and make me kill humanity. Pandora's Tower, yeah, basically, and there's elements of it. There's sort of the isolation and the loneliness of the world, and the way you're made to feel is very sort of reminiscent of Ico and Shadow of the Colossus. Basically, the game starts. The way the storytelling is absolutely fucking marvellous. You start off with you're the soldier. You've got this young sick girl with you and this old merchant woman, and you hole up at this watchtower. And all you know is that you're on the run for something that apparently the young girl's done. And there's these towers adjacent to you, and you have to go and kill these beasts in them and bring back the heart so that the girl can eat them, which will cure the illness that she has, which is starting to.
It's like a surprise bullfight.
Oh no! Actually, I think they were inspired by one another. It was sort of like concurrent development cycles. And yeah, you have to go into these towers, come back, bring the heart, give it to her. But the story—that's all the story. You start, you know the basics, and then you have to start doing this. But this girl, when she eats these hearts and sort of comes back to human form, has these nightmares, and she starts to remember what happened. And there's this thing that happens at a harvest festival where you're all there. I won't say any more, but such good storytelling and. I don't know whoever localises Nintendo games is a fucking genius. I'm sure it's not one person, but those people that localise and, sort of translate the dialogue from Nintendo are just geniuses. And it's so. What did you say in the last what was the last game you were talking about? Economy of Words.
Oh yeah.
Loads of that, just brilliant. There's nothing long-winded about it. There's no long-winded cutscenes. There's these fantastic you find these little. Trinkets around the world. Sorry, not trinkets. They're like scrolls. They're like little bits of dialogue, basically. Mm-hmm. Some of them tell you how to do things. Some of them point you in the right direction. But some of them are just little sort of like diaries from people. They're never any longer than 4 or 5 minutes long. But they just enrichen the world so much. Yeah, and it's this guy, and he says, you read. It's literally 4 or 5 sentences long. That's it. That's it. And it's a guy saying. I've got a new assignment. My job is to take food and medicine up to the tower at the side of the hill. I'm going to be going up there for the next week doing my run. I went up there yesterday and I saw trees growing upside down and all the thorns was walking around like animals. I think I'm going to enjoy this job. And it's tiny little, that's so flavourful and kind of that you get a real sense that guy's actually a character, and that happens throughout it. Everything's very done very concisely, and it's reminded me. Have you ever seen that Charlie Brooker program where he interviews writers about their process?
Yes. Yeah.
There's that great bit where he speaks to the guy who reinvigorated Doctor Who. Davies, is it? Something Davies?
Russell T Davies.
Yeah, and he says the thing that pisses him off the most is when people try and describe characters in scripts that he's written. And he says, the example he gives, it's like, Dave, fat, bald, angry. That's it. You got him. Done. And there's so much of that in this. But aside from all that, aside from the inviting world, the brilliant writing and stuff, it's just a fucking really, really effective action game, and one that uses the Wii remote without sort of, it's so many Wii games. Okay, how are we going to use the Wii remote? This was a game first, and then they fit the Wii remote around it without being intrusive about it. And it's brilliant. It's fucking brilliant. It's one of my favourite games on the Wii. I think it's in my top 10 Wii games ever, no doubt.
Blimey.
Yeah, but play it if you can. But I know you won't.
Well, I'm going to definitely play it. I'm definitely going to think about definitely playing
See,
it.
I'm going to tell everybody I know who plays games that they have to play that, and it's totally heartbreaking. Really, none of them will do it. It's a real shame. It's a fucking shame. It's fantastic.
I'm not going to have time to do that, but I want to.
It's great.
So that's good enough.
Yeah, genuine.
So my number 2 is Trials Evolution.
Okay.
I played a hell of a lot more as a single player, and I got to the point, which is exactly what happened to me on Trials HD. I got to the point where I restarted one checkpoint about 50 times, and I went, no more. I don't care if I beat this or not. It holds nothing over me. You win Trials. Congratulations. I will go back to the fun stuff, like trying to beat people's times earlier on. I don't care about trying to beat all the shit. So yeah, that's me in Trials this week. I don't really have a hell of a lot more to say about it.
Okay, that's the opposite of me, because Trials is my number 1, and last week I sort of described it as being, because of how function it was, how everything about it was functional and everything worked, I described the game as having the air of an affable surfer dude.
Yes.
Now, it might as well be a jittery guy with a gun to my head, because I can't stop playing it, even when I'm not enjoying it. And there was a period for about 2 hours on Saturday where me and my girlfriend were taking turns to play it, and we weren't enjoying it at all. It was just... There was nothing enjoyable about it. Normally, when a game stops being enjoyable, when you just constantly, feel like you have to constantly restart, you stop playing it. But we couldn't, and I think there should be a fucking health warning on it. It's so, it's the most addictive game I've ever played in my life.
So you're talking about one of the harder levels where you're just trying to get over a box or whatever?
No, I'm not. I'm talking about... I'm already getting exhausted. Every few minutes I get a text from Rate going, you think you got the fucking high score on that level? And I'm just like, no, not again. It's just the simple levels, but it's so precise. The tiniest movement can fuck you. And then it's too easy to restart. And you're always near the beginning, because apart from one level, they're tight, short levels. And I've stopped enjoying it. It feels like, I mean, it's without a shadow of a doubt, if I reviewed it for a magazine, 10 out of 10. It's a 10 out of 10 game. It's a remarkable game, but I can't. It's too compulsive for me. I find it really hard to stop playing it.
I mean, when I say I had to say no, I mean I had to say out loud to myself to tell myself to stop doing it, because I'm a man of limited free time, as we all are.
Yeah.
And I'd spent 20 minutes, basically, I think not 20 minutes, 10 minutes trying to get over this fucking ledge. And at that point, I had to actually tell myself, no, John, you're going to put the controller down. This isn't helping anything. You're achieving nothing with your life.
That's
Stop.
it. But that's the aim of the game. Everything in the game is trying to get you to do that. Everything from the only way it could be worse if there was an autolog style system messaging you every time a mate had beaten you.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking it should have that, and then just like I'm kind of glad it doesn't.
No, I'm not even playing. I'm going back to earlier maps and trying to sort of precisely beat some friends' high scores. But,
oh no, that's what I'm doing now. I'm going back to that. So,
but
I'm definitely still in the danger loop.
Oh, but it's what I can't get my head around is that you're not even really progressing or learning anything, because every time you do it, the slightest thing will fuck you over. Through no fault of your own, the tiniest millimetre further on the thumbstick, you'll fuck your run up.
Yeah.
So it's just like, what do you want from me, blood? I don't know what to do. It's like, I love the game so much, and I think it's a masterpiece, but I haven't. I just like, it's the epitome of pointlessness.
It also doesn't help that we have a mutual friend who has a hell of a lot more free time than both of us, and is extremely good at this sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean that would be irritating. But even if I wasn't trying to beat high scores, I find something so. I was sitting there for the best part of an hour, just like, I'm not enjoying this. I couldn't put it down. That's just me, admittedly, but yeah.
I think that's many people, and I felt it happening to me. That's why, like I said, it was definitely happening to me, and I had to force myself and so almost like I needed to slap myself in the face.
I didn't. I completely stopped enjoying it. I was getting no enjoyment out of it whatsoever, which is a shame, because it's such an. Although, like I told you, the most entertaining thing you can do on that game is a 4-player simultaneous run at Gigatrack. Fantastic fun. That. I mean,
I've only done it on my own, which was great. But I want to do it with other people. Yeah.
I kind of wish there was more tracks like that. Although that they start trying to stitch you up at the last second when you're on a perfect run. But that's the game.
So that was your number one, right? That was my number 2 and your number 1.
Yeah.
So my number 1 this week is Sniper Elite V2. I guess it's version 2. I guess that's what it means.
It's basically a remake, isn't it?
It is. I mean, I think I think it's under embargo for review. So what I'm going to do is there's a 1-level demo out there, which is the first level. So I'm going to kind of concentrate on that just to not overstep any marks. I played the game, but you can kind of get the gist of it from talking about that anyway. Rebellion are not known for making amazing games in the recent history. They
never did.
I'm not. I'm just that they've had a checkered history in the past few years on this generation of consoles, at least. This is their best game in a long time. It's still flawed and feels archaic in many ways. There are parts where you'll walk over invisible lines in the map, and soldiers will just run out at you, like really obvious joins in the levels that don't really happen in modern games anymore. But it's a sniper game, it's a niche game, and the proper definition of the word niche. You know, people use niche for something that's just really obscure and no one will play it. That's not what a niche is. A niche is something that has a very specific audience that would spend a lot of money on that thing. That's what niche is, niche marketing. This is a very much a niche game, and I expect it to do well. And it is a game specifically about sniping, and it has the best sniping in any game. It just does.
Why? What's so good about
it? Not only do you have to do all the cool stuff that you have to do in Battlefield, but was originated in the first Sniper Elite with gauging for wind, gauging for distance, gauging for leading a target if they're moving, all that good stuff. It has the most audacious kill cam in the history of games, and I'm not joking. It will get you out of your seat, like roaring on your own.
What? Because it's funny.
It's hilariously violent. I mean, unbelievably violent. Skulls shatter. It's all done in X-ray, like the Mortal Kombat X-ray moves.
Yeah.
You'll see like a skull shatter and a bullet pierce through the brain, burst an eyeball. If you catch them through the hips, it will slide through and burst their testicles. You can pierce the heart. I mean, it's disgusting. It's like horrendous. I don't know why I like it. I don't know why I do, but I know I'm not alone. There's something weird in the male human psyche, or maybe any human psyche, that seems to take great pleasure in watching other people
testicles explode.
I mean, it's hilarious, but every single time it's that kind of mixture of should I laugh or should I be upset, but I want to do it again immediately. That is so compelling and it's so satisfying to snipe people in the game that it kind of overshadows all the dodgy stuff for the rest of the game. The crap set pieces, the occasional graphical glitches, the really crap design choices later on in the game. I shouldn't even talk about them.
Does your character talk?
Yeah.
What does he sound like?
Only in cutscenes.
Oh.
He's a white guy that sounds like Vin Diesel doing Vin Diesel doing his gruffest ever accent.
Oh,
or Michael Clark Duncan. Yeah. I'm not even going to attempt it. That noise just then was my attempt at what he sounds like. But he's really good at sniping. Really good. And there's like a hold your breath. You can hold your breath like you can in every game, and it will bead a little red diamond that gets smaller and smaller and smaller, so you can shoot someone through the tiniest little gap, and you watch the bullet fly in slow motion. It will go through a tiny little gap in the crate, and the guy's head shatters, and one hit his teeth. It got stuck in his teeth, mate. The demo of the first level's up there now. Everyone should play it just for the fun of doing that. And it's like a really tactical, slow game in a really cool way. It doesn't feel like anything else. It's ropey as fuck as well in many ways, but.
That's Rebellion don't do polish.
No, this is the most polished game they've done in a long time. I mean, it doesn't. It feels like a labour of love, and it is, I think, for them. But I think it's going to do well.
Cool.
I think people are going to like it.
Genuine. Okay, all right, that's us done. Once again, I'm starting to regret ever concocting the 20 games in 40 minutes tagline, but we're going to continue trying to get everything done in that time.
And we'll continue calling the podcast that every time we post it up on the website as well.
And everyone can see that we're liars.
Yeah.
But thanks very much for listening. Check out the website if you haven't already, www.thefineartplaylist.com. Our Twitter feeds are on there and whatnot. But thanks for listening. See you next week.
Yeah, thank you very much. Peace out.
I think the storytellers were right about you, Crom.
Storytellers are paid to tell lies.